interactive. I will finish on time, if not before. I will be respectful of your time. So if the questions are long or take more than 2 sentences to write, I will save those to the very end. Now, for the end questions, the lengthier questions, I will turn off the recording to preserve your privacy, but also that is a benefit only to the people who are live and who are staying here live. So I save that to the very end, but if it's pertaining to something right now, you have a quick question, you need some clarification, you need me to slow down, you need me to speed up, just say so, right in the question box. That's where I can hear you, okay? All right, everybody. I didn't get, oh, from Tuesday. You didn't get that one. It's not in spam. Oh, yeah, I don't know that I can resend that, but let me double check that, okay? Because I want to make sure that you get that. So Danielle, when you do get a copy of today's, I'm not going to remember everything here from the question box, so you do have to reply to the email where you confirmed this with, or even today's email, just so that I have that in my inbox, and now I can manage that better because I won't see it here, okay? All right, thank you. Let's go ahead and get started and talk about, let me go move this here. Actually how to make better business decisions with Google Analytics. Do know that I am a data geek and data nerd because I know how well you can target and how much money you can actually get a better bang for your buck if you know exactly what's working for you. That's why I'm a huge fan of data. It's not just to know some factoids. It really is to help you in growing your business smarter. And that's what we're going to take a deeper dive in doing today. I come from a small business background. For those of you first time here into the boot camp, know that I have 20 plus small business background, digital marketing, plus I've owned a small business. I have earned the Texas Governor's Excellence in Small Business Award. And I also have been in international e-commerce for a little over 12 years. So that'll be really important tomorrow when we go through our session of how to sell online with e-commerce tools, because I have much more e-commerce experience than you'll even see in the slide deck. And I'm here to help you. You can learn and just absorb it all and ask questions from me because I've walked the walk and you don't have to worry about spending that time, energy, and money. You can learn from me on that. So I'm happy to share that. In fact, our e-commerce sites, I think I shared that yesterday, last year made 6.1 million. And then we're already on track for 8 million and started at $100,000 a year is where our e-commerce site started with. So I'm happy to share those insights and best practices with you tomorrow, okay? But today we're going to be talking about how to make better business decisions with analytics, because sometimes that can be so overwhelming. So if you've used Google Analytics before, just put the letter Y in the question box, because I'd like to know if you've used it, if you feel very comfortable or familiar with it. I'd like to know your level at that. Absolutely. Christy, hello, welcome. Does not work. I emailed about it and haven't heard back. Oh, the video from Tuesday does not work. So yeah, Christy, like I said, it takes me usually about 3 to 5 days to respond to an email. So I'll take a look at it and I will make sure that you get a copy of it. But I did test it because it does, but I'll double check that because I had a couple of webinars on Tuesday, okay, Christy? So remind me by email and I'll double check on that, okay? Let's see, but make sure that you're saying it doesn't work, that you received it, because if you say, please send me a copy of it, I don't respond to that because it usually, it's only people that are actually here in the webinar. So sometimes I receive those from people who don't show, no show to a webinar. So make sure you say that you were in the webinar and that it didn't work. Okay, Chrissy, just making sure. All right, Renee, hello, hello. I need Tuesday sent to me as well. Again, it's please reply to the email because as soon as the system picks up everything here from the question box, it's gone. And I'm not going to remember in an hour when this is over. Okay, so if you'll do me that favor, then I won't forget to respond to you. Okay, all right, let's see. You have used, all right, Lenore, super beginner, not to worry. I'm not going to go too fast. I want you to feel comfortable asking your questions because this is important for you to make those better business decisions. Again, if you are tweeting or posting, please use the hashtag Grow with Google because that does encourage the Google team to create more business boot camps. And if you want to tag me on Twitter or Instagram, feel free to do that. Connect with me on socials. I'd love to see the next thing that you do and apply and celebrate any of your successes. Plus, if you're reposting or you're sharing this, I will gladly share you in my stories or retweet you, okay? All right, we know that data is out there. I mean, you can just Google anything that you want and find out more information and factoids. The thing is, what can you actually apply to be able to make good business decisions? It's great to have a lot of facts out there, but that's kind of the lower level information. In fact, when I'm speaking to businesses about industry standards, that does give you a good baseline, but it's more important that you find out your own numbers and compare your numbers where they're at. Come up with a control number or come up with the base that you're starting with, and then see how you progress and measure your own progression, because we all have unique things about our business that make us just a little bit different from the industry. So we know that in order for you to be able to make good business decisions, that these insights need to be something that's a little bit novel, just a little bit different. Usually it's a hypothesis or theory, but the information and the facts that you get from that or your insights have to be credible. So asking two people is not credible. Just thinking two people or you're going to be able to apply it to everyone that comes to your site or everybody that you interact with on socials or connect with in person is not enough. That's not a good test sample. So it needs to be credible, but also how can you take action on it? What is it that you can do to help this move the bottom line or get you closer to your goal? Now, when we know and look at data, let's look at some references and definitions. First, data, that's just facts and statistics. It makes you really great at Trivial Pursuit or maybe even in some contests, but that doesn't mean that can help you apply to the business. Analytics actually gives you the pattern and the trend you're looking for. So for example, if I'm looking at a website and of the visitors, 90% are on a mobile device, that is a pattern or trend that now I can see. It's not just a unique factoid, it's that I know over 90% use a mobile device when they come to the site. So you're going to, if you're making a decision about how you design your site, you're going to lean to mobile heavily. In fact, if you only had a few dollars and hours to spend on your site, I would spend it on mobile first, because that's exactly what your analytics are showing you. But what are insights? Those insights give you a little bit more about how this impacts your business. So let's say of all the people visiting your site, 90% of them are using a mobile device. But of the 90% that use the mobile device, 50% of them, over half of them, are actually buying from your site. And now you're going to hear me use the word buy because I come from an e-commerce background, but I also work with a lot of service businesses, nonprofits, and authors. And because of this, I know when I say buy, I want you to know that's also meaning a conversion action. So while I may be using the term and you're thinking of e-commerce, it really is a conversion action, something successful that you want them to do on your site. It could be leave their email address, watch a video to its completion, download something, fill out a contact form, or actually purchase something. Sign up to be a donor, sign up to be a sponsor. Okay, so it's a success action on your site. Today, we're going to talk about Google Analytics, and I saw there was about 6 of you that actually utilize Google Analytics, and we've got a pretty full room here. So also how you can find answers in your reports, because analytics can be overwhelming. If you've ever taken a deep dive into analytics and you don't know what you're looking for, you can spend all day there, and you still have to take care of your customers. I'll also cover those advanced features that give you even more insight and expertise into your customer, because it's up to you to be an expert in your customer and understand how they go through your site and consume information is exactly what Google Analytics gives to you. And then also, if you decide to use ads, the power of tying this together with Google Ads. Now, understand Google Analytics is 100% free, and it is available to you for free by having a free personal Gmail account or a Google account, so either one. And then of course I end everything with recap and resources. So first we're going to jump into analytics, and let me see, I do see a couple of questions here. Amy, yes, you will get a copy because you did comment in there. And then if you would like a copy of today's slides as well, if you will put the number 5 in the question box, you will get a copy of today's slides and a copy of the recording. No worries, Alicia, if you could only make a half of it, just comment in there the number 5 already that you've commented in there. You'll get a copy of the recording and a copy of today's slides, but it will be 24 hours from now. It will not be immediately. 24 hours from now is about how long the system takes to render the actual recording. And I like to send those all together, so you'll get that again tomorrow, so 24 hours from now. All right, probably as we start tomorrow's session is when it will come in for you to see. Okay, so let's talk about analytics. All right, what is it? What is Google Analytics if you're not familiar with it? It's a free tool that connects to your website that lets you see how customers or how people review your site, consume information, shop your site. So for example, if I had a physical store and all morning long, people came into aisle 1 and aisle 3 and they left, but they didn't check out or buy anything. And I saw them 1, 3, 1, 3, aisle 1, 3 all morning long, but they're not buying anything. And then in the afternoon, I see aisle 1, aisle 4, they go to aisle 3 and then they purchase something. They go aisle 1, aisle 4, aisle 3, they purchase something. Now I've got some questions. Is it the people who come in the afternoon who are more likely to be my best customers and buy? Is there something on aisle 4 that is enticing them to buy something? Is there something on aisle 1 that is not encouraging them to buy something, or that will help me at least get better insight on who they are? Or when they leave, if they've gone to 1 and 3 and they leave, are they going to my competitors? So you can see all of that in Google Analytics, but a lot of people don't know how to access this information, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. It can be overwhelming. I'm going to stair-step you through this, and again, I'm here for you if you have questions, so do find that question box. So you can use Google Analytics to find out what people are actually using, the search terms that they're using. One of the aspects or the pillars of the 3 pillars that decide where Google actually shows you up in search is relevancy. How well do you match the words that somebody's using whenever they search, whether they're typing, they're using a phrase, or they're saying, hey Google, hey Alexa. Maybe you need to understand better who your best customer is. What are the demographics of your customer? So one of the businesses that I was just talking about that I work with in international e-commerce, they actually thought that their best customer were women actually ages 24 to 34 years old. When looking at the demographic information of the best customers that actually were buying and spending time on their site, they found out it was really women ages 34 to 54 years old were their best customer. And in fact, they were shopping their site between 2 and 2:20, 2:30 in the morning, you know, when we all have free time then, right? So that is when they were shopping the site. So all of their ads, even the Facebook post and any of their social posts that they schedule, they don't schedule till 2 o'clock in the morning. That's a dog product, so it can absolutely serve everybody who has a dog, but they don't want to miss their best customer. And why waste it by showing something at 10 in the morning when their best customer isn't even on socials? They're too busy doing other things. It's at 2 o'clock in the morning. So they really are making some good strategic decisions, and you have that information at your fingertips too. You can also understand what content people like. You know, are they watching your videos all the way through? We know that if somebody hits a video and only watches it 3 to 5 seconds, that's usually a mistake, right? We've all been guilty of that. Just scrolling along, you tap a little bit too hard, and now you're someplace you didn't even want to be. But if somebody watches at least 10 seconds or more, that's a commitment, and you can see who watched the video, consumed it all the way, halfway point, or maybe who went and downloaded the PDF, and did they spend more time on page 4 and then go to page 5? Remember, just like with the physical store, they go from aisle 1 to aisle 3, or aisle 1, 4, and 3, and then they buy. Do they go to page 1 of your site to go page 3, and do they leave and go to a competitor? Which competitor do they go to? Do you know? Or do they go to 1, 4, then they go out and look at your social, get social reviews, confirmation credibility is confirmed now through social proof, and do they come back in and buy on aisle 3 or page 3? Do you have that information, and do you know that? Because that's your job as the business owner, to really understand your best customer, and then know what channels are driving things. Because yeah, I mean, you may be TikTok famous, Instagram stories, and it may feel really good, but if it's not growing your business, again, like anything else, why are you doing it? Measuring your marketing is so key, and if you walk away with any mantra during our time here in the boot camps, it's really to understand that if you're not measuring, you're not marketing. $1 or 1 minute spent that is not lifting the bottom line or getting you closer to your goal is $1 or 1 minute spent too much. So if you go here to this website, you'll see it on your screen. It's g.co/analytics. You will start an account if you have not connected this yet to your website. Now, if you are logged into your free personal Gmail account, or a free Google account, you'll just click sign into analytics. It will recognize your credentials if you're already logged in, and now you can get started with analytics, and it will walk you through how to connect analytics to your site. All right. So as we know, those of you who do have analytics, the 6 of you that do already have analytics connected to your site, you know that there was another version that launched of analytics back in October 2020, and that is GA4, Google Analytics 4. Understand that GA4 is the new format. Excuse me, hold on. GA4 is the new format. Universal Analytics is the classic, so that's the one that we first started with. Sorry about that. But so the two are different. Universal Analytics has been tracking your site, even though whenever you connected to your site, it went as far back as it possibly could go to the birth of your site and tracked. Google Analytics 4 does not do that. When you connect to Google Analytics 4, it only tracks from the day you connect it forward. That's why I'm highly encouraging everybody to connect it already. And actually, I recommend that you keep both. You have Universal Analytics and Google Analytics 4, because one piece of data does not migrate or connect to the other. They operate separately. But why I like GA4 is because it gives you a better picture of your actual customer. Let's say they're shopping your site and they start here on a mobile device, and then like me, they throw it to their smart TV. They start looking there because they want to look at it a little bit bigger, but then they move, and maybe now I've got to jump on an airplane, so now I've got my iPad with me or my laptop, and I jump in there. It really gives us a well-rounded version of our customer and all the different devices that they use and the different ways they shop. So that's why I like Google Analytics 4. And I encourage you to use both so you can start getting some history and good data about your website into both tools. Now, when you get into Google Analytics 4, or if you've been presented with it already for the 6 who already have Google Analytics, you might have already seen a little notification about setting this up. You can set this up. Again, it's not a true migration. So even though it says migrate here, it's not. The two operate separately, and I like to keep them both on. Universal Analytics is supposed to go away in July 2023. But I know that can also be a fluid date and may move. So just keep that in mind to run both, just so that you have both pieces of information. And I'll tell you the value you can get from each even right now. Okay. So as you look at your Google Analytics account, you can start looking at different reports that really help you answer some questions. We'll talk about what those questions are, and then also see the health of your actual site. How is it performing? How are people utilizing it? Is there a page even on your site that's not even working and people don't like looking at it? Or is there a page that they bounce off quickly? Now you're going to hear the term bounce rate. What a bounce rate is when somebody comes to your site and they don't do a thing on it. In 60 seconds, so 1 minute, they don't do one thing and they bounce and they leave. So they leave in 60 seconds and don't do a thing with your site. That is a clue for you that there is a disconnect between however they got there. Could be a social post, could be audio, an ad, it could be a newsletter that you put out, so email marketing. They got there and they didn't find that they were looking for. The number one culprit of that is that people want to send them often to the home page, and that truly is so confusing to people when they're looking for something specific. Let's say you're a spa and you have a new lotion that you've been showing and really showcasing within all of your Facebook Lives or maybe your Instagram stories, and you now are sending people to the front page, which is talking about your spa services and talks nothing about the lotion. That's under the products tab. I would highly encourage you to send them to the actual lotion. Take them where you told them you're going to take them. And that now starts building trust and credibility, which people like to do business with businesses and people that they know, like, and trust. So let's talk a little bit about how you can find out more and really measure your marketing and understand what's being said to you. So I'm going to give you a little case study scenario, and this is one that we like to talk about quite a bit because it's Eva and Ricky. Eva and Ricky have a t-shirt shop, right? And they are believing in their gut instinct that in order to grow their t-shirt shop online, they need to add a new design. They just feel like sales have been lagging. They need to do that. They need to promote that shirt and really thinking that they know their exact customers, but they also feel like maybe they need to cut their prices. Now, understand gut instinct is a lot of how we as small business owners make decisions. Unfortunately, what got us here won't get us there to the next level, and we need to level up. And a lot of times we think the solution is discount and cutting prices. But I will tell you, even with the e-commerce sites I've been working with for the past 12 years, we never, ever, ever give a discount, because we understand the value of the actual information that we have, so we can give the customers what they want, not just trying to bribe them with a lower price. Okay, so number one that Evan Ricky did that you do need to do is understand your goals. What is it that you're truly trying to achieve? Okay, what do you want your site to do for you? What value does it need to bring? And how are you at the end of the day going to say, man, that was successful. It did exactly what I needed it to do. Once you know what that is, now you'll see where the gaps are and the information that you need to be able to fulfill this goal. And when you see what those gaps are, you can now ask questions to become better and familiar with your customer, so you can fill those gaps and meet them where they need to be met, and then also do business with them. That then, in knowing those questions, will drive you and give you insights into what reports to look at in Google Analytics, so you're not overwhelmed just by a plethora of data. You truly are going very focused in trying to fill the gaps for the things that you need to be able to make your goals inevitable and lift that bottom line. Does that make sense to everybody? So number one, this is the not sexy part, but marketing is not sexy. It is hard work, and it does take consistent, persistent action. And that is knowing what those goals are. Now, I'm sure all of you here with scores, chambers, SBDCs have heard this over and over again. You have to have goals, but they also have to be smart tested, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Every single goal you have must pass all 5 elements of a SMART test. If you miss just one, you are now going to be set on a different trajectory, and it just takes those few degrees to get you way off course. So you have to SMART test all 5. Every single goal has to pass the SMART test. So for example, as we look at Ricky and Eva, their SMART goal is they want to decrease shopping cart abandonment rate to under 60% in the next quarter. So shopping cart abandonment rate is definitely an e-commerce term. What that means is when people put things in their cart, if you think of a physical store, they put things in their cart and then they just abandon the cart. They leave it. So that's what an abandoned cart is. Well, if they're losing over 60%, because their goal is 60%, they want to bring it down. If they are having over 60% of the people who come to their store just abandon their cart, then them lowering that abandoned cart rate will get them more money, right? They already have the traffic. They already have people coming in to their website. So now they have a chance to do more business with those who are just shopping and then leaving their cart. And in the next quarter. So let's look at this. Does this goal pass the SMART test? Is it specific? Absolutely is. We're talking about shopping cart abandonment rate. We're not just saying, I want to make more money. Well, 1 penny is more money. So at the end of your life, if you make 1 extra penny, you've made money. That's not specific. What does more money look like, sound like, feel like to you? Put a number to it. Is it measurable? Yes, we can measure abandoned cart rate within Google Analytics. It is under the e-commerce tab of Analytics, where we talk about our goals and our behavior. So we can measure it that. Is it attainable? Well, I don't know, because I don't know Ricky and Eva, but if they look at their past analytics and see, wow, that their abandoned cart rate has been about 70%, so 70% of people that are in their store or on their site just leave without checking out and just leave their cart there, then yeah, 10% a 10% decrease is not unreasonable. So that's definitely attainable. Is it relevant? Absolutely. If they can get more people to check out and buy what they put in their cart, they make more money. So it's truly relevant to their goals. Is it timely? Absolutely. By next quarter, we know a quarter, there are 4 of them in every year. So we know that's the measure of 3 months. So this does pass all 5 elements of a SMART test. Do all your goals pass that? So whether your goals are leads, appointments, or sales, or any of the items here, these phone calls, foot traffic, whether you want them to watch a video completely, leave their email address, Are you smart testing or have you smart tested those? Because if you haven't, do that first. I know this is the go slow to go fast, but it's so important for you to do this. I see so many businesses who run out of cash before they are successful because they don't smart test any of their goals, or they major goals are not smart tested and they're missing 2 or 3 components of that 5-point smart test. You have to pass all 5. You really do need to. So what does this mean? I hear a lot of people will tell me their goals are, well, Maria, I want to get more followers on social. Great. That's wonderful. Does that make you feel good, or does it help you get you closer to your goal? Because if you don't have a strategy, then and you're just hoping they come to your site, while hope is wonderful to have, it's a poor strategy. So for example, we know socials go down all the time. We know that social pages just go down for all different reasons. I mean, they even, say, oh, you're in violation of this and you're really not. And it just takes a long time to get to a real human being to be able to even get that up again. So knowing that, if you lost contact with all your socials, do you have another way to contact all those people? What's your backup plan? So a business I was working with, their backup plan was, you know what? I want to make sure I capture everybody's email address. So I'm going to drive everybody from this social to a page on my site that captures their email address. So I know when I get 100 people liking this, so I get 100 followers, of that 100 followers liking my page, I get about 50 of them. So half of them, 50% to come onto my site. Of the 50%, over 90% give me their email address. Now, that's a specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, timely goal. If you say, I want more followers, I need 100 followers, and I need 100 followers by the end of the quarter, that I know that 50% of them will come to my site and leave me their email address. If you can be that specific, now you have a strategy, okay? And it's not just hoping or a vanity metric that makes you feel good. This is something that truly is leveling up your growth of your business. So as you smart test your goals, now you have questions that you need to answer to help you make those goals inevitable. First, do you know who your audience is? Knowing and understanding your target audience is very important. Trying to craft everything, especially your content, be it visual, graphic, or the actual text content, trying to be able to create that for anybody, everybody, and somebody gets you their second cousin nobody. You really have to be very specific that when people see your content, they just think, man, they get me. So who is your best audience? It doesn't mean that you can't serve everybody, but you don't want your messaging to be that diluted. You want it to be very specific, and anybody else other than who is your best customer that gives you business or does business with you is just gravy. Then how can you engage your customers? How do they look for information? Are they going online? Are they Googling? Are they going into YouTube, looking at a lot of DIY things? How can you engage them? What are they looking for in your site? Are they consuming videos, or do they read blog posts? Do they read your online reviews? Do they look at your photos? Where are they spending the most time on your site? Do they become customers? Remember, while I say customers, this does also work for donors, sponsors, readers, however you're measuring the successful conversion action on your site. And then, are they loyal? Are you sustaining them? Do your customers come back? It takes a lot less time, energy, and money to work with somebody who already has done business with you because they know, liked, and trusted you enough to part with valuable time and money and share that with you. So are you bringing them back? Are you teaching them how to advocate for you, to also give you reviews and to be able to engage their circle of influence, because there might be other people within their contact sphere who could be best customers for you too. So some of the reach questions. What are people searching for? It's really important to understand that. We talked about that in session 1 here of the actual boot camp, is understanding if people don't know your name and they don't know what product or service that can serve them, they have no idea that there's a solution that can even help them. What are they going out and searching for, and where do they search? Because you want to meet them where they're at. It takes a tremendous amount of time, energy, and money to try to get and convince people to get other places. In fact, I see a lot of small businesses, they'll spend all their money trying to convince people to look over here when all the crowd and eyeballs are looking here, and they'll run out of cash flow by the time they get everybody over here, and a competitor or somebody bigger, a bigger business, will take advantage of the fact that you spent all this time educating the market to come over here, and they will just hop on it, and you lose everything. So what is it, and where are they spending time, and what is it they're searching for? Who is your audience, and how do they find you online? Are they Facebook people, or are they Pinterest people? Now, I'm not a Pinterest person. I do Pinterest ads. I understand Pinterest tools and Pinterest idea pins, but I'm not a Pinterest person. I believe it's a huge time suck. I jump in there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough time in the day. But I know that some of the e-commerce sites that I work with, that Pinterest is huge because they've got to be able to see this thing, this item in their location. They need to understand how this book, how the service that they're going to provide, if they're going to get coaching services, how that actually changes their life. And this is a good visual within Pinterest. Plus, Pinterest is a search engine in and of itself. Now, how do people also engage with you? Maybe that's where your questions are. Where are they finding you already? Where do they engage online and offline? Where are they coming from? Are they coming from different revenues channels like the socials, or are they coming from affiliates? Do they come from your email marketing? Or maybe you're involved with a Chamber of Commerce and they're coming and clicking through the Chamber of Commerce membership listing. So where are they coming from? It's important for you to understand that, as well as what information they need to be able to make a decision. So you understanding your customer's decision path is also vital for what you do in business. And then what channels are actually converting. So it might feel great that, man, I'm TikTok famous, but everybody just comes and looks and nobody buys. But even though I may not be a fan of YouTube, I know that YouTube is #1, even above TikTok. So if I take that same TikTok and I put it as a YouTube short, maybe that is getting me business, and that's more of the strategy that I need to use. So I need to understand how the channels convert and what calls to action. Is it buy now or shop now or learn more? Actually work with a lot of businesses, and some shop now works better, but some it's learn more. And of course, which channels give you the highest return on investment. That's why the acquisition report within analytics is my absolutely favorite report, because it gives you all these insights. But first, in order for you to know that you even want these insights, it's important for you to know what questions you have that you need to fill to be able to make your goals inevitable. And then your current customers, how are they engaging? It's good to contact them more than just, hey, I need you to resubscribe or buy something. In fact, I like to ask current customers what they're thinking, what they need, because if I can do more business with them, then I win, because I don't have to expend more time and resources to be able to capture them. They already know, like, and trust me. Do you give a reason for people to come back and really stay engaged with them? Understand relationships take time. So you can't just microwave those. So once you have them, stay in good contact with them to be able to keep that relationship going. We all know what it feels like when somebody's fallen off that relationship contact sphere and also or contact time, and then they all of a sudden come in a year later and ask us for a favor. You don't feel good about it. It's the same thing with businesses. So some of the reports that you can use within Google Analytics that can help answer those questions that you have is what's happening right now in real time. So for example, if I just sent my email newsletter out, I actually go into the actual Google Analytics and I look at the real-time report, because that will show me, okay, I just sent this out about 15 minutes ago. I see people are starting to click on it. Is it driving traffic? Is it doing what I need it to do? The same thing with SMS text marketing. Whenever I send that out, I look immediately at the real-time report. I was working with a business that invented something that was being featured on the Today Show, and you could see it when it aired on the Today Show in the real-time report, as it was aired in the East Coast, in the Midwest, and so Central Time, in Mountain Time, in Pacific Time. I saw it travel all the way across and see whether or not that was a good thing for them to do. Also, acquisition, where are they coming from? Which tools are actually working? Is it your email marketing? Is it text marketing? Is there some cooperative that you're involved with, so affiliate programs? How are they interacting? What are they doing? What is it that they need to be able to consume or to see to be able to make a good decision? What are they purchasing? Because not everything is going to be doing great and well. So it's important to know what's your best seller and what's not. What's your best engager? What's the best one in securing your donors? Again, even though I say monetization, it's a successful conversion action. Where do they go frequently? So what can you do there to help retain and keep those customers, and even encourage them to invite and to introduce you to their friends and families? And then demographics. Who are those best customers? Are you spot on with what you thought at gut level, or are the numbers telling you something different? So some of these reports in Universal Analytics are just like what I've shown you here in the questions. You'll see it right here when you're in Google Analytics, just like any other Google tool. The navigation is on the left-hand side. You'll look here and you'll see the real-time report, the audience report, that gives you the demographics, the acquisition report, my favorite, because it tells you what channels actually work for you, and what's bringing in the bacon. Behavior, what do they do on your site? Do they go from page 1 to page 3 to page 10? Do they go off to see your competitor? Do they go off to your socials? Or do they stay on your site and they look at something else? Maybe they look at your holiday gifting calendar, or do they come to your page and they get to page 2, your holiday gifting calendar, and they jump off? The reason this is important, if you've ever heard of the business Wicked Good Cupcakes, one of the things that they saw in their behavior report was that their holiday package page was doing really, really well. People were coming into the site, looking at their holiday package page. But what they also found is that most people, 80%, just left the page. So they came to the page, didn't do anything in 60 seconds, and jumped off. So they're wondering, why was there a disconnect? In looking at their analytics, if it wasn't Christmas, Mother's Day, or Easter, people were not buying during that time. That's the only holiday packages that they would want. So what they did is, using this information, they made the decision to put a holiday calendar on that page that every day in the US is holiday. This is Take Your Daughter to Work Day. This is Honor Your Nurse Day. This is Amazing Skateboard Professional Day. This is I Love to Work with Children Day. Whatever it is, they had a package that they could customize. So instead of people just bouncing off and leaving, now they stayed on the site, they looked at the calendar, they started choosing and customizing packages, and we're not going just with the 3 traditional packages that they like. So you can look at that too. You can see the behavior, and you can also see what's converting and what's not. The real time, like I told you, it lets you know exactly what's happening. I love to see this move across the world. It's one of my favorite reports to see too. But again, it depends on the goals of the business. So not every goal needs to look at their real-time report. For yourself, because time is more valuable than money, which report works for you? And it's the report that answers those questions that you have that are the gaps in your goals. All right, so where are your customers coming from? I love to look at this too. If you look here, organic means that they're just coming in from a search on the web. They're searching, let's say you're a spice shop, and they're just looking for spices or salts or fennel that they're looking for. A referral means that it actually came from another site. So let's say a friend of yours blogged about you and said, man, you had the best mint ever, mint spice. So they put the referral there. It could be that it's CPC. That is actually an ad that stands for cost per click, and that is an ad that's coming in. It could be an affiliate site. Maybe you agreed with somebody that, hey, you put this on your site and I'll give you a small percentage of sales and I'll put this on my site. Or it could be from email marketing. Now you know that if your email marketing is not doing anything, now 1.3 thousand is not zero, but if it were zero, then you'd say, why am I spending any time email marketing? Maybe I need to spend all my time, energy, and efforts here in these top 3, because that's truly where I get the better return on investment. And then where are they going on your site? So now you can see, what are they looking at? What are the different pages that they see? Which is the most popular page? Are they watching or reading blog posts? Are they watching videos? In fact, I like to look at blog views and time on page to see how many people are actually reading through and what do they do next after that. And then where are people buying on your page? Do they purchase from an ad? Is that driving it? Or is it a call to action actually coming from socials or someplace else, maybe even your SMS marketing? So you can take a look at all of these. Now I see a couple of questions here. It works. I purchased from companies that have followed up with their marketing tactic. Absolutely. When you can retarget and remarket people, let's say you know that they've come to page 1 and 2 and they left because there wasn't a calendar there, you could say, oh my gosh, we saw you left, and maybe you didn't realize there are a dozen other holidays that you could take advantage of. So you could do that in your email marketing or your SMS marketing, or you can do a Google ad and target it as they're going through, or if they're on Facebook, you can target anybody who's been to your site and target them and say, hey, just in case you didn't realize this, there's an entire holiday calendar in case you hadn't had that on the site or they missed it. Maybe they were on a device where that calendar didn't load, and you know that too. Okay. Sound, is everything good on sound? Amy was saying the sound doesn't work for her. Everybody else hear sound? How does Google see my newsletter? Lenora, great question. So what you're going to use when you have a newsletter, your link in your newsletter, you do need, when it's going to your site, to utilize a UTM. That's called a unique tracking metric. So if you're in Google, that's free for you to use. You can come up with a unique tracking metric that will actually put a little code behind the link that it gives you to your site. That little code, Google Analytics will read and let you know this is coming from your newsletter. So that's how that happens. Now, some newsletter programs like Constant Contact, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign already have that built in. And so it already walks you through that as you're creating your newsletter. That automatically happens. It's just one of the steps. But some of us have to do it manually and get that UTM ourselves, unique tracking metric. Make sense? Sound is good? All right, thank you, thank you. Perfect. All right, how does Google know they came from an email? Because of email marketing, Renee. So know that in email marketing, so if you, again, just like I was showing with Lenore, if you have that unique tracking link, that's how Google knows that it came from email. Also do know that all the free tools, even though I say free, you are sharing a little bit of information with them. And if it's coming from any of the free tools that you're connected with, like Yahoo Mail, Hotmail, Gmail, anybody like that, it is also tracking your clicks in there too. And then now we'll show when you're coming from an actual email account or from an ad, okay? Now, how about your loyal customers? How are you keeping and retaining them too? How many are coming back? I like to know that, because if I've got a customer that I've worked with who's coming to the site and over 90% of the people coming to my site are people I worked with, my languaging is going to be a whole lot different than somebody who's brand new. I'm going to be very much, hey, welcome back. I'm going to make it sound like cheers. You know, everybody knows your name. I'm so excited that you're here. We value you. We love you. We want you to come back. And I recognize you. People like to do business with people who actually listen to their customers and value who they are personally, not just as a number. Your demographics let you know who's visiting the site, so you have a good idea. Just like my friend Brandon I was telling you about, he thought it was people, women ages 24 to 34 years old, and found out it was 34 to 54. So the demographics were a little bit different. Education level, experience level, number of children, house, all of that was a little bit different. So he was able to target that and is making some good business decisions because he pays attention to who the best customers are, not just who he feels that it is the best customer. So when we look at Eva and Ricky, take a look here. This is what they believe by gut instinct, right? But when they looked at the real numbers, because facts, right? Numbers don't lie, and facts do tell us, these numbers are facts as we look at Google Analytics data, that nope, it's a younger age group that's really their best customer, and not female, but male. And their primary driver of traffic is organic. So people are searching for that actual industry. Now, know that direct, you'll see two things when you see where traffic comes from. Organic is one, means they're looking for that industry or that specific topic. But when they say direct, they're looking specifically for you. Like if it was even Ricky's t-shirt shop, that's what they typed into Google, that's direct search because they're looking directly for you. And most purchases for them are coming from first-time visitors. So to think and assume that it's going to be repeat customers and say, hey, you know what your size is, just log into your account, for somebody who's a first-time visitor, they're now totally lost. They have no idea what you're talking about. So all of that changes in really understanding who that best customer is, not just who you assume, right? Whatever happens when we assume, right? So let's talk about some of the advanced features. Some of the advanced features in Google Analytics is you can look at dimensions. So you can have one dimension and a secondary dimension. So you can filter your reports this way. And let me show you what a dimension is. So for example, let's say I want to know how many people in Houston, Texas. So that's dimension one. I'm looking for a geographic location in Houston, Texas, is actually coming to my site and doing business with me from which device. So the second dimension is the device. So I want to know how many people in Houston. Dimension one is the geography. Dimension two is the actual device. Okay, so I could do that. Or maybe I want to know, look at three here, Google CPC, that means it's an ad. Maybe I want to know how many people from a Google ad, dimension one, are coming in from a mobile device. So I want to look at device, dimension two, one or two, or it could be a custom event. Let's say I have an ad running, so number one, that's dimension one, and I have a special event like a Moonlight Madness shopping sale on the site. So that's dimension two. Make sense? That's your secondary dimension. So you can filter that way and get a really good understanding who those customers are. Now that's great factoids for you, but do understand that how are you going to use this toward your goals? That's why it's really important to start with goals first. That gives you a solid foundation, not shifting sand, and now you can decide exactly what questions you need to ask and not waste your time in Google Analytics just being entertained by the great factoids. There's also segments you can look at. So what are segments specifically? You see the definition in front of you, but let me show you practically how those are. So for example, explorations, let's see, segments, I'm sorry, could be how many people in, let's say, mobile traffic who are using mobile traffic are coming from paid traffic. Okay, so how many people from using a mobile device are people that are coming from an actual ad, be it paid through Google or Facebook or Yahoo or Pinterest or TikTok, whatever they're doing, but you're finding out what your paid traffic is from your mobile device. So you could segment those different audiences and really target those two. So dimensions give you some good aha moments. Segments truly are ways you can segment your audience and now start targeting them, okay, and really following them instead of anybody, everybody, and somebody on your actual site. Does that make sense to you? All right, and how you can use Google Analytics with Google Ads, this is how it connects together and the reason why you want to connect it together. Because every tool that you connect, every Google tool, and these are both free that you can use, even though Google Ads, you will pay for the ad, but you can still start it up and use it for free without even putting your credit card in. But everyone you link together now is confirming to Google that your business information is correct and that you're a viable business. This is important because Google's the #1 search engine in the world, and the reason it is because the information it provides somebody who's searching for your product, service, or solution or needs help and any information, they are finding the correct information. The way Google presents that is not only do we look at the 3 pillars of relevance, distance, and prominence that are part of the algorithm, it looks to see exactly, is this business a real business? The more Google tools you connect together, the more it confirms to Google, it's a real business. Put it up there, show it up higher because this is good information. So connect that, but it also helps you if you decide to do ads, it helps your ads learn from what's actually happening on your site. And I like that because relying on industry data, that's kind of the most unpersonalized bottom of the barrel kind of data. More custom data, more zero-party data. Now this is letting me know exactly what a customer needs, my customer, not just anybody else's, not just another spa's, my spa's customer. Now I can go in and start making decisions on how to present things that really resonate with them and that'll help them decide and really are an important tool in their decision journey, okay? So you can product link by going here into Google Analytics. This is the administrative settings in Google Analytics. So you usually get here by going to the very left-hand side. At the very bottom, there's a little gear there that says settings, so it looks like a gear icon. It will take you here and you can see right there in that second column, that's where your property is, that's your website. You're going to put your Google Ads linking there, connect the two together. I would highly encourage you to be in Google Ads already, to be signed into your Google Ads account when you do this, and it'll be nice and seamless. They'll both recognize each other and you're good to go. Now, do know that I do encourage people to start with Google Analytics first before they even go to any of the other tools, and the reason being is Google Analytics, once it's verified that you are actually the owner of this business and that domain, now is good when you utilize Google Search Console to add your actual site into Google's library, or when you're using Google Ads, or when you're using Google Merchant Center. All of this links together, again, making it seamless. So now you don't have to worry about a long verification process because Google Analytics has already done the work in verifying that you're a real business, and the other tools can pull on that and confirm that too. Does that make sense to you too? All right, I've covered a lot of information. You've drank from the fire hose. What questions do you have? Because from here, remember what I said about knowledge is not powerful until it is applied. So maybe you need to really smart test your goals. That's where you need to start at, because then now you might know what the questions need to be. Maybe your goals are smart tested, but you don't know what questions, or you have questions and you need to know how to fulfill those questions to make those goals inevitable. That'll help you then choose the tools once you know what questions are, to what reports, and to be able to measure that and now take action. So actionable insights are very important. We're not just playing Trivial Pursuit here, we're doing things to grow our business. All right, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to questions. Feel free to start asking questions in the question box, but I do want to share this free resource that you have available to you. If you haven't seen this before, I've talked about it in every boot camp, but this is through your iPhone and through your Android. You can download Google Primer for free. It is an app, and we always keep up-to-date lessons here, and there are lots of lessons in there about Google Analytics 4 if you're just becoming familiar with it, and it's a free tool, so you can use this. but you also might be interested in really taking a deep dive and using these Google career certificates to actually take a much deeper step. In fact, this one is a scholarship that's available, and I'm happy to go through that if you're interested in that during the Q&A time, but I do want to introduce you to it, and you have this available to you as a small business as long as you have an EIN number. And then, of course, you can always look us up for Google On Air. Every quarter, we go over exactly what everybody is looking at and what's of concern to a small business right now. But do know that these people, your Google partners, the local community partners vested in your success, really want to help you. So let them know what they need. Reach out to them, because they won't take 4 or 5 days to respond to your email like me. They're right there for you. And I highly encourage you to reach out to them. Okay, so these are your people. Make sure you connect with them. And then do know we've got one more session of boot camp coming up. It is learn the basics of Google Ads. So we're actually going over Google Ads this next time. Okay, I thought we were doing e-commerce. Sorry, my mistake. We're doing the basics of Google Ads, which will really show you how you can use Google Ads and the free tools within Google Ads to strengthen. I think then we might be going through the e-commerce one in the second half of our actual boot camp, which will happen in August. So look for updates of that. I think we'll be covering that there. And then, of course, if you want any other training, you can go here to this site, google.com/grow. But these are the people that you want to get a hold of who will be able to ask me to come out or to be able to provide the training that you need on any of these tools. Okay, so we're at the top of the hour. I'm going to stop